Peter Kloprogge from Pointlogic.
Okay, well, thank you. Again, Thomas, thanks for your presentation. I'm the third one saying it, but I love this sentence, every penny counts. And I sometimes think that the economic crisis is actually one of the best things that could have happened to the industry. Mm-hmm. Because, we've been talking about ROI, everybody knows, as long as I've been in the business. And, but it really becomes an important issue right now. And what I want to address in my 5 minutes is, the title says reinventing ROI measures. And as a company, we're very much involved in analytics, research, and software in the area of integrated marketing. And there's a lot changing. And I just want to touch on some of the problems I see. That's why I've got a piece of paper in the traditional way that ROI modeling has been done, and what I see as some of the new ways and approaches you see popping up. Integrated marketing, in the end of the day, is about understanding consumers' behavior. And how do you influence consumers' behavior with marketing communication? So it's not about purely having a channel. And I think one of the biggest issues with traditional modeling is simply when traditional modeling end up saying, this was the contribution of television towards your sales. Because it kind of assumes that a contact with television, the exposure itself, is what leads to sales. But we all know it's the message, it's the creative strategy that you put behind it. So I think in order to have ROI measures in an integrated campaign environment, you need to take the creative strategy and the messaging into account. Otherwise, I personally believe you're bound to fail in getting grip in managing ROI. Just to give you one quick example, and I love this one, and I did it again this morning before I was here. I Googled media mix modeling, 5,000 hits. I Googled message mix modeling, 0 hits. And if you think about it, it would be just as valuable to start to wonder how much money am I going to put behind a certain message instead of how much money am I going to put behind television. And it's something that people are not dealing with. And in the end of the day, with only looking at the media contribution, it's just not going to work. The second problem, I think, and this is a bit of an old one, is the fragmentation and that digital has created an explosion in data. And I know some modelers will tell you that's a good thing. We've got more ingredients to work with. But I heard some presentations before talking about the accuracy of data. And believe me, a lot of inaccurate data doesn't make anything better. And what you get is projects taking so long, data being so cumbersome, so tedious, that either people start to better manage their data, or as a modeling company, you just can't cope with it simply because it takes a year to get the appropriate data, even though people tell us the data is there. In practice, when you then say, can you send it to us, you start having the problems. And the third point is, again, a bit more of an older problem, but I think this problem is increasing in the changing environment that we have. Traditional modeling looks backwards. It's kind of the rear mirror. And I think this point is very clear, that if you would think about being Ford, and if you would have data from the last 2 years, just try and imagine them having all this modeling, ROI modeling, and trying to apply that data today. Biggest competitors have gone bankrupt. Media environment has totally changed. The message that you need to put out into the market, running costs becoming more and more important, has completely changed. So simply looking at the mirror and looking backwards fails application to the future. So those are my 3 biggest challenges I see with with modeling and trying to get a grip on the marketing effectiveness. So moving a little bit towards solutions. The main point is somehow we need to be able to incorporate the creative and the messaging. We need to understand the granularity of why people make decisions, which is more it's more about the messaging itself. And once you know what drives decisions, then you might be able to understand how a certain ad in a certain environment at a certain time is able to drive your ROI. Second point, I think we need to start, there are people that judge media plans, and there are people that test copy, that do copy testing. And again, merging media and creative we need to start what I call campaign testing. So there's creative, there is a media plan, put them together, and let's try and test what that combination does instead of testing them in silos. I'm going in a different order. I also think there are people that are looking too much in terms of what's the holy grail solution, what's the one solution. I personally don't think that exists. I think we're going to need to have data fusions, data integration. I think we're going to need modeling. I think we're going to need research that is done differently. I think we're going to need audience measurement. And I think, kind of to strive, for example, to a single source with everything in there, even though it has some promise, will not in the end deliver the improved management of ROI. And I think I'll leave it with that. But the main key thing is that in order to get grip on ROI, it's not enough to end up saying, this was the contribution of this media towards sales, because it's a flawed sentence to begin with.